What's up, everybody? Once again, it's your boy, Brooklyn Mclinn, and we are back with another reading from my book of favorite quotes, 30-Day Transformation to Becoming a Better You. Far from what I once was, but not yet what I'm going to be. So I appreciate all the support, man. This is available on Amazon.com and my personal website, lifestrategymeetup.com, with 10% of the proceeds going to charity, or basically buying socks and toiletries for those that are less fortunate. So basically what I do is 10% of the money I make from this, I just go buy some of that stuff, and then a lot of times I just keep it in the car and drive around and just hand it out, or specifically we'll go to a certain type of place to deliver it. But primarily I just like driving around and stopping on the street and just handing stuff out to people. So yeah, we are moving on. We are up to quote number 16. And there's a playlist of the previous 15. So you're more than welcome to catch up that way. All right, number 16 is by one of my favorite authors, Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements, life-changing book if you haven't read it. And this is one of the agreements. So number 16 is always be impeccable with your word. Once again, always be impeccable with your word. And that's by Miguel Ruiz from the book, The Four Agreements. So let's read. Words can inspire or they can expire. Words can encourage or they can discourage. Words can inflate or they can deflate. You are a dealer of words, so choose wisely. The spoken word is one of the most powerful creative tools we have. The majority of the things we see physically manifested were once thoughts that became words, and ultimately with inspired action became things. I'm going to build a skyscraper. I'm going to invent a car or a computer, explore space travel. These were all words that were spoken to create and be of service to one another. On the other hand, the spoken word in the wrong mouth can have devastating and lasting effects. Imagine a child who is constantly told they're not good enough. Imagine a woman being told she is worthless by her man. Imagine a man being told he is useless by his boss. Imagine a race of people being told they have no value in society's eyes. All of this is done with the spoken word. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me is so untrue. Words do hurt. It came to a head with me when I got into an argument with a young lady I was seeing at that time. We both were having a bad day when one thing led to another and we began arguing. Doesn't matter who said what first, but I said something to her that forever made an imprint on me. In the heat of the argument, she said to me, "You're acting stupid." Not wanting to be outdone, I paused and said to her, "You are stupid." I knew before I said it the ramifications of intentionally speaking so hurtfully, but in that split second, my anger had control. The look on her face was so damaging. It was like I said her child had died. The pain and anguish in her eyes has never left me. She stormed off crying, and I instantly wished I could take it back. I had said something so hurtful to someone I care so deeply about. Of course, I apologized, but the damage was done. My words caused great pain, and I had to take responsibility for that. I vowed in that moment to never do that again. I never want to be the cause of someone feeling that way ever. There is a deep responsibility that comes with being able to speak. In today's world, we are so loose-lipped. We are so quick to criticize, so quick to judge, and so quick to denounce. It is just as easy to speak a life-giving word as opposed to a life-stealing word. When you are able to connect the spoken word with the human mind, it increases in significance even more. The human mind is like a computer. Hard drive storing information. It is like a garden with fresh soil ready to be planted, and it is with words that this process takes place. After having read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz and Aspire, another book by Kevin Hall, the way I spoke was forever changed for the better. I understood how powerful my words were and the need to become more conscious of them before I spoke. Then it became about me having a better understanding of what the individual words meant so I could become impeccable with my own words. Words that I thought were harmless like can't, no, don't, and not all took on new meanings. I realized when using them, I was speaking and seeding death, not only into others, but into myself. Ultimately, you only talk to people in situations the way you would speak to yourself. So I decided to only speak life to myself first so that I could speak it to others. It was a challenge at first breaking a habit like so many are, but once I had the information and understood it, it became easier the more I stuck with it and applied it. The response from people and the environment was immediate. I saw how my new approach uplifted me, people, and conditions. By being an example for people to see, many of my friends began to pay more attention to their words as well. Here's an action step. Pay more attention to what you speak. Decide based on reactions and responses if they are life-giving words or life-stealing words. Look words up in a dictionary. Many words I thought I knew the meaning of, I was actually using them out of context. Be sure to taste your words before you let them come out of your mouth. Do these things and watch your world brighten up immediately. That is quote number 16, Always Be Impeccable with Your Word by Don Miguel Ruiz. So let's reflect on that a little bit. I shared a story in here about a relationship that I had and some language that I used that I'm not very proud of. And I want to clarify something. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Yes, words can be hurtful. Words can be hurtful. I don't really believe that anybody can make you feel a certain way. So for somebody to call me dumb, excuse me, for it to have an effect on me, somewhere inside of me, I have to believe that I'm dumb. So for somebody to call me dumb, for it to actually affect me, I have to believe it to be true to some degree for me to respond in a fashion. Okay? So I liken it to walking down the street and my name is Brooklyn and somebody's screaming out Larry. Like, you wouldn't necessarily turn around because you're like, well, they're not talking to me. My name is Brooklyn. Like, they're screaming for Larry. Now, you might turn to look just out of curiosity, but you're not affected by the person screaming out Larry. So it's the same with any word or phrase. You know, the word nigga or nigger in proper English has a deep history with Black people. So when we hear the word, it affects us. So instantly we're turning around to see who's saying it, why they're saying it, and what context are they saying it, because it's a deep rooted, it's something that it has been imprinted on us. So we respond, right? But if there's no connection, if somebody was screaming out, trying to think of another derogatory term that has no affiliation with, you know, Black people, like, we wouldn't necessarily be so quick to turn around because there's no relationship to that word or the feeling that we've attached to the word. Now, that being said, what I said to my partner at the time hurt because, one, yeah, she dealt with some feelings of not good enough or not feeling smart enough or feeling, you know, stupid. And I knew that. So I was intentionally trying to hurt her feelings in that moment. So that's why I'm ashamed of it. I regret it, because I knew what my intent was. My intent was to inflict pain, right? Knowing that she felt a certain way about it. So that's where I'm so wrong, way off base. That's why I felt so bad about it, because as soon as it left my mouth, I already knew, like, there was no coming back from that. And so reading this, reading the 4 agreements, and one of the agreements is be impeccable with your word. Like, it really made me sit and think about what I say to people, and, even more importantly, what I say to myself. Because for me to say that to her and to intend that kind of pain on her, I must be okay doing that to myself. And I have to be honest, like, I've called myself stupid many a times. Oh, that was dumb. Brooklyn, you're so stupid. Like, why would you do that? That was dumb. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, and we think it's harmless, but it's really not. Because when you're hearing something over and over and over and over again, at some point, it takes root. And it starts to grow, and it starts to have an effect. So I needed to pull those weeds out of myself. I needed to stop referring to myself in certain ways. And then once I stopped doing that, now I can reflect that out into the world and stop calling other people stuff that I say to myself. So even the word nigga. So if I stop calling myself that, or referencing friends and, because it's we're trying to, take back the meaning of it. It's like, if I stop using it, then I can expect other people to stop using it. I hope that makes sense. So being impeccable with my words, and then understanding universally in metaphysics and universal law, thoughts become things. So thoughts are words. So we have a thought and we communicate that with words. The word is into the universe. It takes seed in the universe and it starts to manifest, followed by our actions to help it grow. Okay? So why would I want to speak anything other than something that's going to benefit me and mankind? Right? That makes no sense to me when I understand universal law. So the universal law of cause and effect is, if it's showing up in front of me, it's because it's coming from me. So I'm thinking something, I'm speaking something, whether I'm aware of it or not, and it's showing up in my life. And if I'm aware that I'm the cause of it, then to me, it would be erroneous not to pay more attention to the cause, which is me, and make sure things that are showing up are things that I actually want to see in my life. So words are extremely powerful. Think about when you listen to your favorite song, or you hear a song and you're like, ooh, like that. It's a frequency. Words are just sound, right? And it's on a frequency that affects your body, it affects your vibe, it affects your energy. There's a great documentary, and I can't think of the doctor's name, but he's an Asian guy, and he has a documentary about how frequency and sound affects the molecular structure of water, right? And our bodies are made of 75, 80% water, so the words, the sound affects. That's why a little baby can hear some music and they start dancing. Like, you've never taught the baby how to dance. They just start moving. Because the sound, the frequency, the vibration is affecting the molecular structure of the water in our bodies. So just check out the documentary. It's a really powerful documentary. So I just became more conscious of that and more aware of that, and wanted to try to really consciously speak more life-giving stuff first, like I said, to me, and then in turn reflecting that out into the world and to everybody else. Trying to be more encouraging, more uplifting, more showing more compassion, showing more sympathy, more empathy, because that's what I would want, for myself. So this is not a long video. Always be impeccable with your word. Always be impeccable with your words. And understanding, like I said, I believe underneath that nobody can make you feel a certain kind of way, but what is your intention when you're speaking words to people? So I accept responsibility for my words because of my intention. Whether on the other end they're able to, not be affected by it or be affected by it based on their life experience. To me, is not something that I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with my intention. And my intention in that example that I gave wasn't to give life. I was speaking death. And I didn't like that. And I didn't like that part of me. And I worked really hard to remove that side of me. What else? I think that's it, man. It just, we got to be more careful about what we're saying. Like words are so powerful. I mean, we see it every day. And we also have control of what we input into ourselves. So, the type of music we listen to, the news programs, like all the stuff that's around, the conversations that we engage in, gossiping, all that is death. All that stuff is just is life-stealing energy. Gossiping, ratchet music, news programs that just try to keep you fearful and afraid. I just try to be really mindful of that. I just ask that you take a couple of, minutes or hours or a day to really pay attention to what's coming out of your mouth. Right? When are you saying I can't? And understanding what it means, can is about physical ability. Because sometimes you physically can't do something. But I just know can't, a lot of times I was using it just because I was looking for an out. Hey, you want to go here? Oh, I can't. Because, saying can't takes the responsibility off of myself when the truth was, I just didn't want to. So I was hiding behind I can't to not hurt the other person's feelings. And it's like, nah, man, take responsibility for how you feel. Truth is, I didn't want to in that moment. Can we reschedule? Can we do it another time? Or I'm just not interested. Like, it's okay for people to feel the way they feel. We just got to be more mature, more responsible with our words and have more accountability. And I knew that within myself, that I had to be more accountable to me about the words that I was using. So just pay more attention to it. When you're driving and somebody cuts you off, and what comes out of your mouth, and who's around when you're doing it. When you're at work and somebody, work coworker says something to you, like, and think about, the positive stuff too. Think of how many times you say thank you, and look at people's reaction in either scenario, either positively or negatively. And then take into account how it makes you feel. And then decide for yourself, which lane you want to be in. And I personally was like, I'm not going to beat myself up for it because I'm human when stuff, doesn't go the way I intended. But I have more control than I was led to believe. And over time, it does get easier. So I just want to breathe life. I want to inspire. I want to motivate. I don't want to deflate and expire and discourage people. And primarily not do it to myself. All right, y'all. My book of favorite quotes is your boy Brooklyn Mclinn. That was quote number 16. Always be impeccable with your word by Miguel Ruiz from a great book called The Four Agreements. If you have not read it, it's a must read. All right. See y'all next time. Peace.